Today, we delve into the chilling case of Tatsuya Ichihashi and Lindsay Hawker. This case, marked by strange twists, including a body hidden in a flower pot and the suspect's drastic measures to alter his appearance with plastic surgery, shocked Japan and beyond. Ichihashi became one of Japan's most wanted, eluding capture for years. Our story begins in Coventry, England, where Lindsay Hawker grew up. Born on December 30, 1984, to Bill and Julia Hawker, Lindsay was a bright and caring person who excelled in her studies at the University of Leeds. After graduating with top honors in 2006, she was eager for new experiences and decided to teach English abroad. Lindsay joined Nova, Japan's largest private English school, and moved to Tokyo, where she quickly settled in and enjoyed exploring the city. Despite loving her life in Japan, she remained close to her family and friends in England through regular calls and messages. Lindsay's adventure took a dark turn when she met Tatsuya Ichihashi, leading to events that captivated and horrified two nations. 6 months after moving to Tokyo, in March 2007, Lindsay Hawker had an unsettling encounter. After work, she was at Chiba Station getting her bike when a man approached her unexpectedly. He called her his English teacher, but she didn't recognize him. Despite her confusion, the man persisted, following her as she tried to ride away. He kept up with her all the way to her apartment, where he finally caught up and asked for English lessons, offering to pay well. Lindsay declined due to her busy schedule. However, he then asked for a drink of water inside her apartment. Reluctantly, she let him in, thinking it was safe since her roommates were home and it would also allow them to see who he was. Once inside, he asked again for lessons, this time offering 3,500 yen per hour. Seeing it as easy extra money, Lindsay agreed to meet him later at a cafe. Before leaving, he drew a quick sketch of her, wrote his name and number on it, and gave it to her as he thanked her and left. Tatsuya Ichihashi was a 28-year-old from Ichikawa in Chiba Prefecture, born on January 5, 1979, in Gifu Prefecture. Coming from a well-off family, with his father being a doctor and his mother a dentist, Tatsuya initially aimed to become a doctor himself. However, after failing his medical exams, he switched to horticulture, graduating from Chiba University in 2005. Despite his education, he didn't pursue a career and lived off a monthly allowance from his parents. Tatsuya had a complex background. He had no criminal record but was once accused of assaulting a woman during a robbery. The case was settled privately with his father allegedly paying the woman about 1 million yen. Known for his solitary habits and fitness obsession, Tatsuya was a regular at the gym and enjoyed long bike rides. He was also known for being somewhat withdrawn and rebellious, showing no interest in working. After their meeting, Tatsuya gave Lindsay a sketch he had drawn of her, along with his contact information. He thanked her for the hospitality and looked forward to their next meeting. Several days later, on Saturday, March 24, 2007, Lindsay met Tatsuya for their first English lesson at a local coffee shop. Security cameras showed them talking in line as they waited for their drinks. Lindsay looked comfortable, though she stepped back whenever Tatsuya got too close. They talked for a bit over an hour, and it seemed like they made good progress. At the end of the lesson, Tatsuya realized he had forgotten his wallet and suggested, "No worries, I live just half a mile from here. Come with me to pick up your money, then you can go." Lindsay agreed, and they took a taxi to his place. Lindsay didn't have her bike that day and needed to be at work later, so she asked the taxi driver to wait while she went inside Tatsuya's apartment. However, Lindsay didn't come back out after a few minutes. The taxi driver thought it was odd, but figured she might have changed her plans. So, he left without giving it another thought. Later that afternoon, Lindsay didn't show up for work. She also didn't return home. Her roommates, realizing she was missing from work, grew concerned. They called the police that night to report her missing. Days passed, Saturday to Sunday, and Sunday to Monday. Lindsay's family and friends in the UK began to worry because they hadn't heard from her. When she missed another day of work, her school contacted her parents. After learning she had missed 2 days, they called the police again. Only then did the police start to take Lindsay's disappearance seriously. The police began their search at Lindsay's apartment, and her housemates were the first ones they talked to. They quickly had a suspect in mind. Lindsay had met a man at a coffee shop just before she went missing, and she had left a sketch of him at her place. This was their first lead. At about 5:40 p.m., 2 police officers went to the home of the man, Tatsuya, but he didn't answer the door. His neighbors let the officers look into his apartment from their balcony. They couldn't see much because the lights were off, but someone seemed to be inside. Strangely, a bathtub usually inside the bathroom was now on the balcony. The officers sensed trouble and called for more help, thinking Lindsay might be inside and in danger. An hour later, 7 more officers joined them. After 3 hours, as they were about to enter the apartment, Tatsuya suddenly opened the door and tried to rush out, leaving a backpack behind. The police grabbed the backpack, but Tatsuya escaped through the narrow, twisting hallways of the building. Without radios, the police lost track of him in the confusion. Tatsuya disappeared into the night in Tokyo. When police finally entered his apartment, they found a horrifying scene. Lindsay Hawker's body was in the bathtub on the balcony, buried in sand and soil with only her right hand sticking out. She was tied up and gagged, with bruises all over her upper body. It looked like she had been badly hurt before she died. Her belongings were scattered around the room. The bathtub was disguised as a flower bed, with flower seeds planted on top, which were meant to grow using Lindsay's body as nourishment. Shockingly, all of Lindsay's hair had been cut off, and the police found several wigs in the apartment, leading them to wonder if Tatsuya wore them. Soon, everyone knew these details, and rumors even spread that Tatsuya might have wanted Lindsay's hair for a wig. The next morning, Tatsuya Ichihashi was officially wanted all over Japan. Police put up posters with his picture, news sites showed his face, and interviews were held to gather any possible leads. Despite intense efforts, Tatsuya seemed to vanish like a ghost. There were hardly any sightings, and the few tips they did get led nowhere. The police were so determined to find him that they even released altered images of Tatsuya wearing wigs, thinking he might be disguising himself. Tatsuya was very good at hiding, and his disappearance stretched from weeks to months to years. This situation caused great distress to Lindsay's family. Upset with the slow progress, Lindsay's parents traveled to Japan to help raise awareness about her killer. Her father, Bill, even met with members of the Yakuza, offering them whiskey and seeking their help. The situation put the Japanese police under harsh scrutiny. Questions arose about how they handled the case, including their delay in questioning key witnesses and using an outdated photo on the wanted poster. Disagreements between the police and the Hawker family grew, and the media in both Britain and Japan covered the story extensively. Meanwhile, Tatsuya was moving around Japan, from Amori in the north to Okinawa in the south. He sometimes hid in a bunker on a remote island and lived in internet cafes and construction sites in Osaka to avoid being caught. To change his appearance, he performed self-mutilation and even had plastic surgery. By the summer of 2009, the police were desperate and increased the reward for information leading to Tatsuya's capture from 1 million to 10 million yen. They believed he had altered his face with plastic surgery. This belief was confirmed when a surgeon in Nagoya contacted the police after recognizing Tatsuya from the before and after photos of a surgery. This led to a construction worker in Osaka recognizing him, forcing Tatsuya to plan an escape to Okinawa. On November 10, 2009, Tatsuya tried to slip away to Okinawa by ferry. However, his plan failed when a port worker recognized him and alerted the authorities. Confronted by police at the port, he admitted his identity. Tatsuya was arrested and initially charged with abandoning a body, later adding charges of rape and murder. It took 8 months for him to finally face trial. On July 4, 2011, Tatsuya Ichihashi's trial began. It was clear from the start that he would face serious consequences. Despite Japan's death penalty, Tatsuya was sentenced to life in prison on July 21 for the murder of Lindsay Hawker. During the trial, he confessed to luring Lindsay to his apartment, raping her, and then killing her to silence her screams. While many called for the death penalty due to the nature of the crime, the court decided on life imprisonment because Tatsuya had no prior convictions and was still relatively young at 32. The trial brought immense pain to Lindsay's family as they were confronted with distressing details and images from the case. After the sentencing, her family expressed their long wait for justice and their deep loss, highlighting how much Lindsay had loved Japan and the life she lost there. Tatsuya wrote a book while in jail, detailing his time on the run and his thoughts, offering the proceeds to Lindsay's family, who declined the gesture. The book sold over 100,000 copies, but nothing could compensate for the loss of Lindsay. Lindsay is remembered as a vibrant, kind person who was taken tragically. Her story is a harsh reminder of the dangers that can lurk even in the pursuit of new experiences. Thank you for watching. Your support for this channel means a lot. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Take care until the next video. Goodbye.